Would it surprise you to know that approximately 75% of the population experience anxiety about public speaking? And that's a real shame because people are losing opportunities to promote their business or advance their career. The great news is that you can learn to speak confidently in public. My name's Mel Sherwood. I help ambitious entrepreneurs and business professionals to speak with confidence, credibility and conviction. Today I'm going to share my top 5 tips to confident presenting. The first tip begins with the letter A, and it's about analysing your audience. Until you know who your audience is, you can't possibly craft any content that's going to actually relate to the audience and connect with them and really engage them. So find out as much as you can about your audience, who they are, what they believe, why they're attending the presentation, what their interests might be. Find out a bit about their age, where they live, their level of education. The more you can find out about your audience, the more effective you'll be at creating content that truly connects with them. The second tip, conveniently, begins with the letter B, and it's about bringing your best attitude and really believing in yourself. Now that's sometimes difficult if you're feeling anxious about public speaking, but the great thing is that our minds are really powerful. So for example, if you approach your presentation worrying about how it might turn out, whether the audience will like you, whether the equipment will break down, whether you'll forget what you're going to say, of course that's going to cause more anxiety. So turn that around and use your mind to really help believe in yourself. Give yourself positive affirmations. Look in the mirror and say to yourself how good it's going to be. Imagine the audience really warming to you and the applause that you'll receive at the end. It may seem a strange thing to say, but I truly believe that confidence is a choice. So choose confidence and you will be able to bring your best to the presentation and really believe in your ability. The third tip is around creating compelling content. The best way to do that is to know who your audience is so that you can create the content that really connects with them. Think about how you could open that presentation to really engage with them. So asking a question is a good way, sometimes sharing an interesting or startling statistic. What about, you could try telling a story. Stories are really great because they connect emotionally with people. They may not remember facts and figures, but they'll remember a story that you tell. So I encourage you to think about stories as a way to reinforce your point throughout the presentation. Always keep it simple. The more you tell people, the less they remember. So try not to have more than 3 or a maximum of 5 points in your presentation. Then when you come to the conclusion of the presentation, make sure that you give your audience a really clear call to action. You should clearly know before you start crafting the presentation what your objective is, what you want your audience to think, feel or do at the end of it. So at the end of the presentation, your audience should be in no doubt as to what your message is and what they're expected to do after that. And if you can, connect your conclusion with your opening statement. The fourth tip is about dynamic delivery. And the only way to do that is to actually practice. And by practicing, I don't mean just reading it through a couple of times before you do the presentation. I mean getting on your feet, speaking it out loud, bringing the same energy that you would bring to the presentation during your practice, so that you start to learn what's working and what's not working. You'll start to feel where it's flowing and where it's getting stuck and what you might need to change. It also gives you an idea of the timing, and it's absolutely crucial to never go over your allocated time. So think about how you could bring that energy, breathe in good feelings and bring your passion to it. When you're actually delivering the presentation, you'll be able to feel confident because you've already prepared, but bring along that passion and that energy, because if you're not passionate about what you're talking about, how can you expect your audience to be? The fifth tip begins with the letter E, and that's about your environment. Knowing where you're going to be presenting is really helpful in your preparation. So what's the room like? How will it be set up? How many people will be in attendance? What kind of equipment will be there? Are you going to use a microphone? And if so, is it a lapel microphone or a handheld microphone? If it's handheld, that may impact on your ability to use gestures. So find out as much as you can about the environment before you actually go to the place where you're doing your presentation. Then when you do it on the day, arrive early. Get a feel for the space, walk around in the space, look at the equipment, whether you're using a lectern or not, understand where you're going to be keeping your notes, potentially any props that you're using, your water, and then go and sit in the audience and get a perspective of what they will be seeing when you're on stage. Make sure when you actually go to do your presentation that you really embrace the environment. Own the space. You're there to present, so take a moment to just be really present before you start speaking, and you'll have a much stronger impact on the audience. Now that's my 5 tips: analysing your audience, believing in yourself and bringing your best attitude, compelling content, dynamic delivery, and really embracing your environment and understanding it. I'd really like to give a bonus tip, and this can be used any time that you might be feeling a little bit anxious about presenting, or any time that you might be feeling anxious, and it's about using your breath. It's such a simple technique, and all it takes is a deep breath in. So if you're feeling anxious, stand tall, take a deep breath in, hold it for just a few moments, and then slowly exhale. Repeat that another 2 times, and I guarantee that you'll feel more centered, more focused, and more calm. So that's my 5 top tips. I'm Mel Sherwood. I'd like you to take on those and go out and be presentastic.